welcome back to Sasquatch Beyond the Outpost for our second episode of this new podcast. I'm Jim
Woohoo!
Myers, your host,
And I'm Sibylla Irwin, your co-host.
and we are thrilled to be back. And we hope you enjoyed last time with Ron. Wasn't that an amazing story with everything he had happened on those train tracks up in the mountains?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He
Just
told me later that you caught the image of that Sasquatch perfectly when you did your drawing, and up on the hill like you
mhm,
had it, just like
mhm,
he experienced. And I'm
mhm.
going to try and get down and see Ron sometime in the next month and ride that um, high rail truck and see where it actually happened.
Oh, I
And
hope you get some
if we do
video.
that, I'll get some video. I'll absolutely get
Please.
some video for you.
Yeah. Because but I would love to see where that exactly happened. I would love that.
And as you all know, I'm in Colorado awaiting snow in the next couple of days, and Sibylla is in Texas, not awaiting snow.
No, it's going to be like 90 degrees today.
So, we're excited to be back. Thank you for all of you who joined us and um, who have expressed so much excitement that we're doing the podcast again. That really motivates us
It does. It
to do
does.
more episodes. And
Yes.
please, I always want to keep promoting Sibylla's channel,
Mm.
Sketching Encounters. Please check out her channel. She drops new videos when she can, and we definitely want to promote that. I would not want this podcast to usurp her podcast.
No.
They're very different, and hers is very worth watching. So
Thank you, Jim.
she's interviewing a really interesting person now that
Yes, I am.
I won't give that one away, but and just to let you know, we're still working hard on the escape room. Again, shooting for June to open. And we've got all of our trips planned for the summer. I've had a lot of people sign up recently for the night hikes that we do. And we're about half full on the camping trips. And we haven't had anyone sign up yet for the extreme horseback trips. Um, don't get intimidated by the extreme. If you are a good rider, leave the extreme part to us. You just need to show up. We'll get you on a horse, and we'll pack all the gear in, and you will have a fantastic time. But you do need to be a competent rider because we're going to be on some backcountry trails, and we just can't try and teach someone how to ride in the middle of crossing a creek or climbing a mountain. So. I'm sure there's enough of you out there who love riding and have enough experience and would love to be with us. We would really like to do that. We're going to be doing some scouting next month, so we would love to have some people sign up so we have somewhere to take you.
Awesome.
Anything you wanted to say before we jump into this
Jump
episode?
into it. No, I'm good. I'm working with several witnesses, guys. So Sketching Encounters
Hmm,
will probably have a video up maybe in 2 weeks.
good.
Um, Hopefully, I've got some great witnesses that I'm working with. So, and thank you
Yeah.
guys for checking in on me, like some of you have. I just adore you all. You're so great. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah. So I was going to say something else, but I'll leave that for you to share as we get closer to the summer and some of your plans. But
Oh,
um, um, so yeah, we have a guest this week who we'll bring in a second. His name is Chris Marola. I met Chris when he came into the outpost this past summer and told me that he was camped up on Guanella Pass, which is about 30 minutes from our store. And he was camped by himself, and his plan was to stay a month, which he did. He stayed a month up there by himself, had some incredible encounters with Sasquatch that we're going to talk about together. But that wasn't his first rodeo with Sasquatch. He's had some other encounters that he's going to tell us about. Chris is a very personable, funny guy,
mhm. and
and so why don't we bring him in and let's hear his story?
all right.
Look, it's
Jim. I'm
It's
Bigfooting right now,
it's
researching.
hiding behind the succulent plant,
Yeah,
Oh,
which
that
is
was
from
great.
Colorado. You told me that plant's from Colorado.
yeah, that's from Duffy, a friend of mine that
Okay.
I went out there with. He went
Yeah.
out with, but
Well, welcome, Chris. We're glad to have you on our podcast.
anytime, my friend, anytime. So, how
And
things are going out there?
things are going great. And we only like to have quality guests on this show. So you qualify, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate the love.
Yeah. And I had a blast this summer. I went and spent a night with Chris out at his camp. We had a lot of fun. Some interesting things happened, which we'll talk about. But I think we want to start just by having you tell us how you ever got into the Bigfoot topic, what got you into it, and I think you've had some encounters certainly that predated your time in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, many, and I'm blessed with it. Just to let your viewers know, and it goes probably for majority of the viewers or people that encounter Bigfoot, you don't ask for this. It usually
Hmm.
just comes upon you, and
Good point.
it it occurred in the summer, June of 2008. Um, uh, I had my son for, I had him like a couple of weeks during the summer. And I wanted to, I was always taking him out fishing and hunting with me and stuff. And a friend of mine's that I went to school with when I was 13, his family owned over 800 acres in the Berkshires from since 1937, this property. And he goes, Chris, if you want, there's a cabin there on the property, on the estate, and no one's used it in 10 years.
Hmm.
And the owners that own the property, his family members, his aunt, uncle had passed away. And, if you want to go up there and use it, go ahead. And he said, there's even a pond in front of it. So I said, okay. So I went and checked it out with him. I went up there and I had like a couple of days to clean the place because it was loaded with rodents that had occupied the whole thing. And so, I ran to the store and grabbed stuff just to clean it up before I picked up my son and took him there, which was
And
not
and
easy.
where are the Berkshires, just so our
The
listeners know?
Berkshires really begin at the top of Connecticut, going along the western and eastern side of New York,
Okay.
like, up into Vermont. And where the highest elevation where I was at is around 2,000 feet,
Okay.
but it gets really high. And hills, you're always going up, and a lot of beautiful country, just farmland. It's something you would enjoy, or
Yeah.
Samila would enjoy. It's out in the woods. So, anyways, I clean it up. I go get my son and I bring him with me, and he's so surprised, and he goes, "Dad, this is great," and the whole bit. And this happened real quickly. So on the first night, we're sleeping, and I just started hearing this crackling, breaking like thunder, and I wake up, and thank God
Hmm.
he did not awake. I'm so glad he's a sound sleeper because he would never have returned. And I didn't want to turn the lights inside of the cabin on because I know whatever is out there can see inside. So I left them off. It was just a snapping sound, almost like thunder. Uh, and I crawled down on my belly. The cabin was built for an artist, and one of the family members, the sister of the lady that owned the property, had this built, and it was just lots of open glass. So I knew everything could see inside, but obviously it was so dark I can't see what's outside. I knew the direction of where the cracking, this snapping was coming from, and it was about 30 yards outside from the cabin. And so I went, and I was ill prepared. I didn't even have being out there like a flashlight. I think my son had a Johnny Depp Pirates of the Caribbean flashlight that he brought. And, me being an adult, you think, okay, I didn't. And so, but I went into the kitchen, I grabbed two big knives that I could get, and I was just crawling around low, different parts of the cabin, seeing what is making this noise because it just didn't stop.
Wow.
Finally, about 5:30, I'm waiting for dusk and I'm waiting for it, and sunset to arrive, and as it was climbing up, I wanted to make sure that when I went out there, my son was still sleeping, that if I could still see anything that came towards me. So if I had to run or whatever, if it was waiting out there, I could make it back. So I walk to the location and I find on the ground these strips of bark from a tree about 7 feet plus long and about 6 inches wide, lying on the ground in a symmetrical order, like a half moon. There was, I think, 13 of them lined up, all there like this. And I was going, what on earth could make this? Bigfoot is out of your mind in Connecticut. The only place I thought was California, Oregon, Washington, out in that area.
Right.
So I had no idea. So I'm going, all right. So I left them there. I made breakfast with my son. I planned to take him out tubing and going down the river, inner tubing. He's 9 years old at this time. And I said, well, let me just bring you out here and see what I see. So I brought him out there and I said, well, what do you think of this? And, he goes, Dad, I don't know, I'm like this. So he just wanted to go tubing. So we go out, we go inner tubing down the Farmington River. We're done. As we come back on the front, just over the front steps, a huge Louisville slugger scat about this long, like the long of my arm, is on the front step. Okay, just
Oh my
lying straight across, but
gosh.
we had to step over it.
Was it like my tremendous turd in the museum?
Yeah, yours was a tremendous. This was thicker. I mean, I'm talking like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not kidding you, man.
Oh my
I'm talking
gosh.
late. I mean, just late, and I knew obviously this was a sign of territory. This is me. You're invading it, whatever. And I'm going, okay.
Wow.
So I didn't want to get my son too upset, but I knew it had intelligence, and for it to deliberately put it on the front step was giving me a sign.
Wow.
I've never heard of them doing that in particular.
So
Wow. I've never heard of that either.
oh well.
Did you have a camera at the time?
Oh no, brother! I just picked it up. I said, "Well, what am I going to do with it?" I mean, honest to God, all I knew that it was a territorial. This is the first day I'm there. Now, I only get my son for 2 weeks during the summer. That was in the divorce agreement. So I'm going, what am I going to do? I said, okay, well, I'll just stick it out here. I'm just going to be more careful.
Were you thinking bear? I mean, there's only so many things that can make a
Yeah.
turd that big.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not kidding you, man. I mean, it was fat. I'm talking
Wow.
fat. So yours, I know, is like, 40 something inches, but whatever it is, this was, but so we went inside. I had my girlfriend coming up to visit. So she's really the opposite of me. I mean, I'm a country, like hunting the woods, whatever. So she's more of a city girl or whatever. But I said, listen, come on up there. I'll barbecue and the whole bit, and we'll make a day of it, and have fun. Go to the drive-in theater, which is a great drive-in theater that was like, 25 minutes east of me. So she came on up, and I mean, she had more luggage than you would have on a cruise ship. So I'm bringing this up, and just giving you the story about how she was. So, so we're in there and I'm barbecuing, and this was like 4 or 5 days later, she came up, and I'm cooking, and it's about dusk, and my son and her got along really well together, which was really good for me. And we're sitting there eating dinner on the porch, and the sun is set, so you have that twilight there, and all of a sudden, as we're eating, this sound came out right where the the limbs were taken, when the limbs with the bark and the branches were taken right in that spot area. And it was a scream, and
That's close.
oh my God, brother, it went right through us. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her like this, and they're looking at me. My son's next to her, and so then they're right across from me on this little like card deck table that we put out there on the porch. And I'm looking, and I'm going, I don't know I didn't even know what to say, but the force, and this is how I heard it from someone that described their encounter with Bigfoot. And if you poured gasoline on a man and set him on fire,
Oh,
and he had the strength of an elephant trumpeting that pain or scream, that's what
oh
he
my
heard, and
God.
that's exactly what I heard. That is
Wow.
ditto. And it went on. Now listen, you can go 10 seconds is a long time. I'm saying this thing, I don't want to over exaggerate, but it was easily a minimum of 20 seconds.
Without
You
taking a
know,
breath.
without taking a, don't, yeah, pointed at us. So this scream is coming at you, and I'm just sitting there with my knife and fork, and I got a beautiful ribeye, zucchini, eggplant on the. I'm like going, what, uh-oh. So I look over there in the corner. I get up. I go to the corner of the cabin, and I'm staring out there right at the spot where all those um, uh, bark, whatever the strip wood from the tree were laying down on the ground, and I turn around, and my son and my girlfriend disappeared.
Oh,
So I look and I say, okay. I walk in, and it was the most, I'm telling you, even though this is frightening for a woman that's a city girl and a 9-year-old kid going through the kitchen drawers, finding the biggest knives and going through there. I hate to say it, but it's true. I almost started laughing because this is how crazy it is, just seeing these two, an adult and this little kid, my son, go. But it was a serious moment. But it's almost
sure.
comical on that part. But
Wow.
anyways, I grabbed
Well, it's
I
interesting. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's interesting to me that their response to that call was to find a weapon.
mhm. Oh yes,
It wasn't like, oh, that was an interesting sound. It was
Sound?
like an alarming, I got to find a weapon. This thing's coming after us, or
yeah,
whatever.
So it was very
yeah.
threatening. It was a
Yeah,
very
threatening.
threatening.
Oh, it was angry because you got to remember this 800-acre plus property had no one on it for
Right.
10 years.
Wow.
And when you drove down that, Sibylla, the driveway, um, at night, you could see the eye shine of 70 deers just lying there on the ground like cow. I mean, not moving. I mean, no one had disturbed it except me, because the people that died and whatever,
Wow.
um, their sons didn't care to update it. They just wanted to sell the property, and at the time the property was going for 25.5 mil. So
Pocket change, right?
yeah,
Wow.
these are Yale people,
Yeah.
That's
all big time with Yale. So
wow.
I get out and I walk. I don't know, but I walk right out to the area where it's at. So I walk right out to the area where it's at, where it's looking. If it wanted to hurt me, I think, I don't know. I'm just saying I didn't have, I was scared. Yes, I'll say I'm scared, but I walk in that area, and then my son and my girlfriend come out to the edge of to the porch, and they start screaming at me. What are you, an idiot? Get back in here, Dad. And I'm hearing all this stuff. Get back in here. What are you doing there? And I walked 15 minutes till it got real dark. Okay. And couldn't find a thing. Couldn't see anything. I went
Yeah.
back in. My girlfriend at the time says, I want to leave now. I said, can you wait till the morning
Yeah, I
just to
believe
do
it.
that? And so she waited till the morning, and and I got her stuff. I put her in the car. She went back home.
What
Mind you,
what
she did come back other times. Okay, so let's
wh-
get this straight on this. It was just the
yeah.
initial fear.
What
But
what did y'all talk about that night? Like
Yeah, that's a
after
good
y'all
oh,
question.
we didn't
what
go to sleep. We were watching movies. I think I brought my DVD player just to have stuff, with my son to watch and movies.
But
I
did
put that
did
in.
the term Bigfoot come up in your conversation.
Oh no, 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 no,
What
no.
did you guys think it was?
Well, I wasn't too sure. I mean,
Hmm.
that I recollect. I'm trying to, there wasn't Bigfoot was really that I could never think that presume that Bigfoot was in our area. I
Right.
mean, in 2008, I just, you're talking before they had the show Finding Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
Right. So
Um,
did y'all think maybe a mountain lion screamed at you or like
well, they were thinking Fisher Cat, that man, but no, no, and it was too strong. The strength of the scream,
Yeah.
the huge amount of the scat and ripping off that bark. Now, people, I'm talking 7 feet long off of a tree that was hit by lightning. That's the other thing. This tree was hit by lightning, broken in half. Huge cathedral pines we have up there. They're huge pine trees. It's like the biggest in New England, cathedral pines, and it ripped just this piece by piece. You're talking like that
Uh,
thick wide going down, so no, not a bear or mountain lion or whatever, but it's still the thought of really thinking that it was Bigfoot, you
didn't
know,
cross your mind? Yeah.
isn't
that
that interesting?
really crossed my mind. Now, I will say this about after that was done, my girlfriend came up to visit back in like 3 months or 2 months later, because I had since I knew him since I was 13. He should just stay up here, maintain the place, keep it, watch out for poachers and stuff like that. And they're poachers that came up onto the property. And one night I'm sitting up there with my girlfriend on this 30-acre open view piece of land that was gorgeous, and the deer would come out, and you count the deer, and there'd be 30 or 40 of them, and all of a sudden this vehicle comes up
Hmm.
and parks in front of its headlights on the deer, and two guys came out poaching. So
Hmm.
I said to my girlfriend, listen, these are poachers, these guys are drinking, do not bring any attention when we're sitting in our chairs, like 40 yards away. I said, we got to get back to the cabin, get my phone, and make a phone call. I says, all I want to do is have a cigarette. I says, you're not having a cigarette because I don't want her lighting up the cigarette and somebody spotting us. So I was
Ah,
told these poachers would come up there and shoot, the deer and take it. So this night, it was the dark night. There was no moon. It was just completely black. But I knew how to get around the area by then. So I took this back way through the woods to go to the back side of the cabin. And she's just holding my hand. And as we walk serpentine about, I'd say about almost 300 yards to get to the cabin. As soon as we get to next, this same scream that I
hmm.
reminded you of when we're
Hmm.
having dinner came not at me, but came at the poachers.
Ah,
He
Wow.
was yelling in that direction at the poachers. Because I'm walking tiptoe with my girlfriend behind me. She squeezed my hand when she heard that. I thought she broke every bone in it. Okay. I mean, it was like the same scream, and then started clicking. That scream was not for me and her. It was for them, but it was on the other side of the cabin.
it was the Sasquatch Game Ranger.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So
So we got
did
into
you any gunshots or anything or did you
no, all I heard was
They
the
took
two
off.
doors close, and they bolted down the dirt road.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
So they bolted down the dirt road, and I went over the other side like I did before, looking for it. Okay, I went there. This time I had a nice flashlight. And after that incident, and I'm looking, I couldn't find a thing,
Hmm.
but I knew. Then I started clicking. Is this Bigfoot?
Hmm.
Then I really started thinking, this is happening again. But I didn't feel I was scared. I mean, I was looking at my girlfriend
Hmm.
on the trail going there as it was screaming, but I knew it wasn't coming at us. It was coming at the edge of the woods because I was in the woods, back in the woods. You could not see the cabin I was at
Wow.
Wow.
from the dirt road. It was gravel road,
Right.
and but he was there, and he was not happy about the poachers, or she was not happy about the poachers.
Interesting.
Right. Right.
That. you know? So then I started thinking, okay, Bigfoot. And then when I started, you know, talking about it, I started getting, you're crazy and so on this, and, you're all kinds of negativity. And then I,
And this was 2008, you
eight,
said. Okay.
2008. So I had to go to a party in September, and I was supposed to bring the beer. And that night before, and I have a serpentine driveway. It just went like this, beautiful rocks, white moss down the center, if I can describe it to you. And it led to the inside interior of the woods, and the night day before, I grabbed all the beer and stuff. I loaded it in my truck. That night before, I hear this big, huge crack of a tree coming down.
Mhm.
So as I am driving out the driveway, there's a tree about this big lying down on the drive, not letting me leave.
Huh.
So I'm supposed to be going to a party, bringing the beer. I think I had like 2 cases of beer. And I'm going, you got to be kidding. I don't even have a hatchet.
Wow.
And that's
Okay.
the only way out was that
That's
driveway.
the only way out. And it's hot. These black gnats are over there. And I am cussing up a storm, because I'm supposed to be leaving and get there by noon, whatever, and have
So
a good
was it
time and everything.
woods on both sides so you couldn't go around it?
Oh yeah, it's all woods. I'm in the woods. This driveway that I went off the regular road is serpentine, in there. And if he stretched it out, it'd be 100 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm going, what am I gonna do? So I went into some of the barns and stuff, and I found one of those axes that have an axe in the front and a sledgehammer on the
Yeah.
back.
Like a
Okay.
maul. Yeah.
Well, Jim, it was dull and it was rusty, and I chopped
And
and
it was
I
probably
chopped.
a hardwood tree, was it?
Oh yeah, it was a birch. Well, it was a
Oh,
birch, but
okay.
so I'm
Sure.
chopping each end so then I could drag it. Okay, because there's like, they're 15, 20 feet to the roots, and then it was a root lifted. It wasn't broken. It was pushed down up, and the roots were showing.
Hmm.
And then the
Wow.
other side. So after taking about, I don't want to say I'm weak, but it took me about 5 hours.
Oh
Believe it or
my.
not, with the sweat and everything. And I drank a lot of beer. That was the only good thing about it to keep me like
And
going.
the party's over by the time you get done.
Yeah, no, well, no, I ended up going to the party, and I kept on. And then I opened my mouth about what was happening to me up there, and
Huh.
the negativity, like, Chris, you've been out in the woods too long, or there's no Bigfoot here, or what do you do, mushrooms or LSD, all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
vocabulary words, and these are close friends of mine, and it was almost like they were keeping their distance, and I knew, and I didn't expect that from them, but that's when I
Hmm.
learned that you can cross the line where people won't believe you and want to put you like, we'll call you, don't call us.
You kind
Wow.
of evaluate your audience, don't you, as to whether I'm going to bring this up or not.
Oh, I wanted to share it. I mean, I'm a giver. I'm not a taker in life. I mean, I always have been. You know, and um, but I did Sasquatch Chronicles, episode 506, and I had over 250,000 people listen to me, and that's a lot of people making nasty comments to you, Jim.
Hmm.
So I mean, they called me everything when I did it, like, under the rug, from a liar to being a hippie to a drug dealer, all he does, and and when you told the truth, and
Yeah.
I'm so
you know,
sorry. I'm so
and
sorry you had that experience. That's terrible.
oh, well, back then in 2008, 9, 10, up, I guess what I was trying to breed into people and telling them that, you
Hmm.
know, to come out with it. I mean, maybe not everybody's going to, holding it inside or keeping things, because, I went around the cabin like in 5 to 6 mile circumference, walking and jogging, all this and exercising. And if I saw a guy on the side of the road, I'd walk up to him and say, listen, I just moved up here. Have you heard any? I've been hearing some strange noises at night. Have you heard anything? Oh yeah, I hear like somebody's getting their wives are getting butchered in the forest. The husbands killing their wives. They'd hear screaming and yelling, but they had no idea of what these
What it
screams
was.
were.
How did your
My
son deal
son.
with, yeah, how did he deal like at 9 years old?
Mm.
Like
Um,
what were his thoughts with the sound that y'all heard and the
well, he didn't hear the first night because he was slept. I couldn't believe how he slept through it. But when he heard it at the dinner table, he was nervous. Like didn't cry or anything. He was 9. He was with me and my girlfriend at the time. Um, all I know is that he repeated it to his mother,
um,
okay, and sort of put like she didn't really want him to come up there that much, and that dad's crazy.
were you ever scared like when you were there?
When they're tracking you and they're following you and you can't see them and you're out in the woods when they, and you make, you walk 20 feet and you hear them behind you 20 feet and they stop.
Right.
And then you keep walking, they stop at the same time,
Yeah.
stop, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't really the real reward I had was, I had so many cameras out there and putting them out in the woods and different parts of the property. There was
Were you trying
one.
to catch it on camera? Is that why you're
Oh
doing
God,
that?
yeah. After a while, this was a mission, man. I'm going like, Patterson Gimlet, and then thank God for Finding Bigfoot. That was one show that helped me through it because on Finding Bigfoot, there was an episode where they were doing it in Michigan, and this lady came on saying, he was talking to Matt Moneymaker and Bobo and Brackman, and she says, yeah, I have them on my property. Matter of fact, last night. Um, I recorded them. And he goes, you did last night. So they go up to her place on the property and she plays the recording. And it's exactly what I just described with you, those two screams, the exact same scream and yell that she did of being set
Wow.
on fire and scream. And it was like Lotto. Boom. I said, geez, I wanted to go out and play Lotto, man. Powerball, Mega Millions, you name it. Because it just secured the signature that I needed that this is Bigfoot.
Right.
For me, I
Right.
was elated hearing that. And I never missed an episode of Finding Bigfoot, the whole bit. Then there was a possibility of them coming up, but I said, no, if I bring them up, I was speaking with Brackman at the time or
Hmm.
uh, emailing.
Mm.
And then I'm thinking, and he was trying to wanted me to convince him more and more because, when he'd be up in that area and they would come. Then I'm thinking, the owners of the property,
Yeah.
they may not want this, and then I'm going to blow everything. So I shut
Right.
myself, cut it, boom, no more communication,
Gotcha.
and did my own way. I was putting up like chicken wings and beef bone and all this stuff hanging in a tree and putting cameras around it and pork chops. And all I was catching was pictures of possums and what do you call them, turkey
Sure.
vultures and stuff like that around. So then I decided to get wind chimes and bells, and I picked out these wind chimes of ladybugs and dragonflies and stuff of nature, and I hung them in this certain area of the forest with a bell. And then I got these rubber. I went to the toy store and bought these plastic rubber ducks and pheasant and hung them with them up in that area. So I knew come, March, the leaves would all be gone. I set up I set up one camera in this particular spot facing everything that was hanging down about 20 feet away. And I waited in January and we had a thaw and it was like going to be in the 50s. So I knew I could go up to the cabin. There was no running water because the pipes, when they built the cabin, was only like 9 inches deep. So that we had to shut the water off at the end of October. So I had to boil the water from the brook and stuff like that, or take a
Mhm.
bath or whatever I wanted to. Just there was no more water going in. So, but I knew for a long weekend, 50s, and so it'll be great. I had a fire inside, so I go up there and check out the area after 2 months, and I see every wind chimed on the ground, taken down with whatever's tied that I tied it to. Just the string was tied to the branch, was left there. The ducks and the pheasant all had been eaten. They bit the plastic and it was block teeth. So they took the wing, chopped off this part of the wing was there in the rear of the plastic toys. And I'm going, okay, I can understand it going because I had to carry a step ladder on my back through the woods to hang it that high to make sure no animals could reach it. So I got it on a 3-foot step ladder. So I know the thing was around 9 feet or more. So
yeah, then an opossum.
I have that on my this is impossible. I have the pictures, same pictures I'm describing now on my Facebook channel that I have, which I really don't update that much. I'm not big into technology and everything anymore. So, but anyways, if you want to see exactly what I'm speaking of, that's there. So I'm so happy. I'm going, God, I got him now, man. There's no doubt about it. He's on video. I go to my camera, take out the SD card, grab all the stuff in my Ziploc bags, and I'm walking home in January. And I know in January here, it starts getting dark at 4:15.
Yeah.
So I have so much light to go before it's dark.
Right.
Okay. It's creeping over my shoulder. So I'm walking. As I was saying to Sibylla earlier, when I was afraid, well, you know what? As I'm walking, I'm hearing something behind me walking. And so I go, every 15, 20, I stop, it stops. I stop, it stops, going all the way there. So when I see my cabin, because it's a skeleton forest in the summer, and I mean in the winter, there's no leaves on the tree. You could see. I'm going, okay, I'm about 100 yards away. Maybe I can't outrace whatever's following back, maybe back there, But I just picked up the pace. Boom, 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 boom. I pick it up. Get into the cabin, grab my binoculars, go back, and I'm scanning like this with my binoculars, going like this. And as I'm going across, boom, I see him for a second like this. And for some reason, my motion of my body just kept going like this. But for a second, there was this figure standing up by the tree looking at me. And I said, wow, okay. But after bringing the binoculars back, look in the area. I didn't freeze and stop there, but there was a figure there. So I went back into the house, put in my SD card, and I got nothing.
No. Oh, isn't that frustrating?
Nothing. And I was pissed. Believe me, I had to take maybe 3 shots of vodka just to calm my nerves. I was cussing. Because, I'm up there by myself. I'm cussing,
You're thinking, I've got it. Yeah.
I take 3 shots of vodka before I go out into the woods, just to give me the courage. I'm not kidding you.
I understand.
You're by yourself. Nobody's accompanying you.
Right.
There's one thing. When it comes to your face, you got to be ready. People are talking. I saw it 300 yards away. No. When it comes next to you, it's a different ballgame.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the famous words of Mike Tyson. Well, I want to see what he does after I punch him in the mouth. You know? He's been talking.
It's different after you've been hit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I was really, both of you, I was so angry. I'm going like, what does it take to do this? So I was talking with my friend that if I had issues that own the property, if I had problems of fixing the pipes or whatever, he'd come over and so on. And I'm out there in the this was now in the spring, April of 2014, and I'm sitting there. He says, "Listen, me and my girlfriend, we were walking back in the woods on this old wooden lumber road that they had back there." He says, "And we found this deer carcass, and we don't know what kind of animal would have killed this deer carcass like that." And I said, "Really?" I says, "Yeah, it's over there. You can't miss it." So I get up there and I walk and I find it. And all the meat has been taken off. Now, this carcass had been lying there maybe for 3 weeks, but all the meat had been stripped. All the rib bones were broken off. The hindquarter legs were gone. The neck was still there. The head was missing. But the crazy thing about it was that about 10 to 15 feet at the most away from it was all of its hair was lined up on the ground. It looked like a Persian rug. It was
Hmm.
just lying flat on the ground like it was drying out. All the deer hair.
Not the
So
skin? I mean, with the
Yeah, not
skin?
the skin,
no skin,
just the
no
hair.
skin, no bones or anything. It was separate, just the hair. And it
Deer
looked,
hair would
I
not
think
be
I have
easy
that
to.
on my Facebook channel too. On that, I wrote about that in the book.
It wouldn't be easy to pull off because it's so short, you know.
Yeah, but it was all you could see it, and I was like, wow. And so it was like a rug. It was like almost like a rectangle. So there, it was just lying out there to dry by not too far from the carcass. So
Hmm.
so the the next day, I go back to the spot. It's early morning, and I'm looking at the spot again, and I decided to go to the area where I put the camera down, where I hung the wind chimes and stuff. And as I'm walking, now, like I said, in April, there's no leaves in the trees in the Berkshires. There's nothing. Okay. I'm walking, and I look up, and I had my camera in my pocket, and I had like candy bars in my right pocket, and I had it was misty, but you could see, and I'm looking. And to my left, about 75 yards, is this black, skinny, thin, malnourished Bigfoot running for like its life, running on the ridge that I'm going to. And I'm watching this thing, and I can't move. I'm looking at it, and I can't move. And it's running, 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 and I'm watching it. And it's almost like the face that was black, dark black, and thin, very skinny. You could
Hmm.
see just like it was almost doing like I described it, the goose step from the military from World War II, the way it ran.
Hmm.
And as it was running and then running in front of me, now I'm here probably, I'm looking at outside, comparing it to like maybe at the most uh, 30 yards from me, 35 yards, I'm looking. It goes by this tree and doesn't appear on the other side of the tree. It doesn't go past the tree. And I'm waiting for it to go past the tree. And I'm just in and said, man, how did it go so fast to be able to just stop?
Stop.
Just stop. I'm going like, so I'm saying, listen, it's 2014. It's been 6 years. I don't give a shit. I said, I'm going. So I start walking straight to the tree. And I got some candy on my other side there. And I'm going to give it the candy and look at it, whatever. And if I find it, so I walked straight to the tree. I either go to the right or the left. I took the left, went around the tree, nothing there. So I'm trying to put the puzzle together, which you can't put a square block into a round hole. And I'm going by definition of E equals MC square and
Yeah,
all the things that
it's impossible.
how could something be so fast? And I passed that, and I knew that another 12 feet more to the left was this ridge that went down like into caves and some little rocks, and maybe went down maybe 200 feet down. But I'm saying, geez, how did it run that way and then boom, go to the
Hmm.
left like that? And so I went back and surveyed the area where I saw him from, and there were, I mean, rocks and trees broken down, bushes, and so that he went through that he didn't fall on his face. I couldn't believe he couldn't fall on his face the way he ran. But
Wow.
all I can tell you, very, very thin, about 8 foot tall, black is black in the daytime. But
Hmm.
you have your camera on you, but when it's happening, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
is this really happening?
Right.
Is
And,
this
pe-
really
and
happening?
and
Yeah.
people wonder why don't we have more video for that
You know?
reason?
It
For that
happens so
reason.
fast.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, no,
was its hair long? Long
yes, it
flowing
was
hair?
long. Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, this one was very long. And they come in different size hairs. I had a gift uh, 3 years ago when I was in Virginia, in West Virginia. A female Bigfoot had become more of a friend of mine. And when I come down, I would stay like 45 days, 40 to 45 days every time. And she would make herself known in presence, especially at night. And she left me, and it's on my YouTube channel. Just go to, you'll see Bigfoot leaves a hair sample. She left me a piece of hair, maybe 7 inches long, and it was clear and then dark, clear and dark, clear and dark. So it was tubular. And she left me one piece on there. You'll see it on the paper plate when you look for it. When you want to edit, you want to follow this, go and look. Bigfoot leaves me a gift. Not the one of the feather that she left me the year after. She left me a beautiful feather that she used to make loops in a bird's feather that would come off the main stem. That's on there. So check it out, because I was honored that she felt that comfortable. But then that's another story on that part. What happened when I was trying to film her?
There's
She called
stories
in
for
the
sure.
infantry, man. She called in the infantry on me on that when I took out my binoculars, and my infrared binoculars have red and they look like a male.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, she was there, and I called her Bella. She, this is my 4th year being there, and I left I was going like, man, I know the viewers are asking me, and I'm videoing and showing everything that's been done, but I didn't want to disrupt taking the camera out when she was around, but I did just for them, and you'll see the silhouette of one of the Bigfoots in there. That's one of my last videos I did in Virginia. And anyways, the 2 binocular infrared lenses look like a male. Males have the red eyes. The females have like the white, bluish, gold tint to them, where the men are the red and orange looking. And that's one thing I've learned in this Bigfoot realm to distinguish,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they just started coming. Like, I think like 6 of them came down, and you could see them pacing back and forth when I had the sand, and I videoed it. It's all on video. And there's one instance where he's low down on the bank, and he's holding his arms. You could see, if you wanted to do a night line, I don't know if you had the technology to do it, but you could see with your eye his body, his shoulders, and then passing through. He did it several times on that. But these creatures, Jim, and you and I are on the same page on this. It's not.
It's not the undiscovered great ape.
No, yeah, it's not the. Yes, the gentleman out in Idaho.
Dr. Meldrum, yeah.
Meldrum, yeah. I have his phone number right now, and I've talked to him several times. So it's been about 6 years since the last time I got to talk to him. But I even asked Mr. Meldrum to come visit me at the cabin, and twice. And once he just got back from vacation with his wife. Another time he was too busy. I sent him my book. I thought if anybody deserved to see Bigfoot, was him, for the amount of energy and time that he did. But it just didn't work out. But
Yeah.
he believes it's some relative of the great ape, and they're not.
No, I don't.
No.
I agree. Do you still go back to that cabin?
Well, it was sold. Okay, so the new owners took it, bought it, and that just changed. You have to go. And
Sure.
well,
that's too bad that you still don't have access to that property,
but
because they had gotten to know you at that
well,
point.
but they know me. But I go a few miles away from their camping in the woods, up on another mountain right nearby, and they've come since I've left there. They have come, and visited me.
It's close enough that they can find you in the woods.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely. They made them. I took a friend of mine there, not last year, the year before. He wanted to come, and that one night, 9 o'clock, there were 3 of them: a female, a male, and a little one. But they do come up there. Yeah, they come up there and pay me a visit. I was looking forward to it.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is an amazing tale.
That's amazing.
I'm going to just say that I've been gifted and I've been marked. And I know it's hard for people to understand that, but just driving over 2,000 miles to where Jim lives, and go, and then they start appearing there,
Right.
and I'm by myself, and they're appearing there to come. There's something that I don't know if it glows at night and saying, watch out for this guy or whatever, but they just seem to come and I attract their attention, and everything's in goodwill. And I believe, like Jim believes, that if you have really good intentions and a good heart, these beings, which I call them the forest people now, because I've been told by Native Americans that they don't like to be called Bigfoot, because I've done some shows with Native, and they say, they prefer the name, forest people.
Right. Right.
So,
Well, tell us, just for the sake of time, I want to make sure we get
yeah,
some of the story of your month that you spent here last summer.
yep. All
Um,
right.
What made you choose Colorado?
A friend of
good
mine
question.
is out there in Colorado, and we've been talking about the Bigfoot. And he said, "Chris, why don't you come on out? I got some places we can go to." I knew nothing. That Jim was out there at the time, and he said, I'm going to take 10 days off, and why don't we go up to the woods up there and see what we can find? And he's always been interested in Bigfoot, so I said, fine. So I drove out there, and I got there on June 24th, and he took 10 days off, and then we went up to the mountains. But on the fourth day, they had to call him back for work. He had to come back to work. So I says, you got to go? He says, yeah, I got to go. So I said, all right. So I stayed 31 days by myself up there in the mountains, and
It's an amazing location.
I was lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on top of a ridge. You climb up to this top of this ridge, and you can kind of see off both directions. Drops off real steep on the other side.
Yes.
So the big trees growing up on the other side, which I'm sure you're going to tell us about now, but if they climb those trees, then they're kind of eye to eye with you.
Yes.
Because the slope is so steep going down.
Oh yeah, they're definitely excellent tree climbers, man. I mean, but he leaves, and I'm sort of like disappointed. I'm going, well,
Yeah.
here I am out here. I kept on asking him, are there grizzly bears around here still? I mean, I really didn't know. Because I don't bring a weapon with me. I don't. I know they know when you carry a pistol or any firearm, they know it. You're not fooling them. They're that brilliant that you're not hiding. They can read your mind. I mean, it's just amazing your intentions. So he goes, I'm going, all right, I got to go and chop wood. I said, no, I got to, because there's not enough two people chopping wood, and that wood burns fast. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stay up 2:00 in the morning, easy every night, have my coffee or two and cook that. So as I'm going up to less than 40 yards from my tent, I'm walking up the hill to see it. I see, now this sounds crazy, but I see these two black legs,
Yeah, I
with
remember
no
this.
torso, walking in front of my tent, and I'm stopping and I'm looking. I'm going, "Where's the hind legs? Is this a bear? It's black." And where's the upper body? Where's the rest of it? I'm going like, and you see, and it was walking like a toddler. Boom, 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 just making these little steps. Boom, 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 walking across my tent. I'm counting. It's like 6 seconds, and then all of a sudden it disappears.
So
Sorry.
so it's walking in front of your tent?
Yeah, in front of my tent,
Between you and your tent. Yeah.
between me and my tent, and I'm after I just dropped off my friend, and I'm walking there. I'm going, you got to be kidding me! Am I seeing this? I'm looking, these legs, and now they're only maybe 20 inches, maybe 24 inches at the most in height. Just
So
two.
you're seeing from the bottom of the foot up to like the knee
No, the bottom of the foot to the hip.
to the hip. Okay.
But all you're seeing is legs walk
Just
across. There's
legs.
no body, just legs.
No body, just legs walking, and then it goes over there and going across, and I'm going, oh man, I mean, this is another It's going to be another great summer, man. I'm talking. But they waited till after my friend left. So I'm there. I'm like, okay, here we go. So I put this, you can find that all these things that I'm describing to you on my YouTube channel. So anything you want to post out to add to this, edit it, whatever, you got my permission. So I
You stood there in awe, like, what in the world am I looking at?
Yeah.
I know.
And then what happened?
So then I'm in there and I'm walking in the direction, Jim, where we went and used the bathroom, it went in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So up there, I can't find anything. So that night, I'm making a fire. And I walk to the edge, going down the slope, like you're saying, okay, at night, going down the slope. And as I looked at just at the edge, so I could see the mountain with the snow on top of it from across me, I looked to the edge, and there is a male with a little infant, a little one, on his shoulder. So I got these red eyes, white eyes, and then in the background are two whitish gold color eyes in the distance. They're not in the tree. They're on the ground, but they're climbing up the mountain. And I caught them as I went just to look to see out in the distance the view. And there they are. And so by now, people, it's 2024. Then I'm used to it. I have been. It's not, and I just start waving to them. I'm there to become friends and make contact. So I just wave. They are sitting and not staring. They are staring at this individual like, what's he doing? And they didn't make a noise. They were just the eyes were so wide, and so I just stared, talking to them in a quiet voice, and nothing happened. So I didn't want to get lead to I don't know any other distraction or uncomfortability because I think I believe it or not I surprised them. I mean, they weren't waiting for me to walk over there, I don't believe, and then see them on the ground, with a little one on here. Yeah, now you got to remember, you got a head like this with an adult, a little one on his back, holding on to his back of his father. So,
you think he was looking over his shoulder?
So I said, yeah, he was looking over the shoulder. So I said, okay, I'm going to go get you some apples. I said, don't go anywhere. Who are you going to talk to? Okay, whatever. So I go in and I brought apples for this occasion. So I grabbed 4 apples. I go up the path that we had our gifting stump on, remember? But not so far because I put
which is along the top of the ridge going uphill a little ways.
Yes. So I put the apples there, and then I went back down and I went to see them, and they were gone. So I went by the fire.
Not the apples. The Sasquatch were gone.
Yeah, the Sasquatch were gone.
Okay.
Sorry. And so the next morning I woke up eager to see if they took the apples, and of course they didn't take the apples. They didn't touch them. So I said, okay. So, I started giving them food and apples in the gifting stump and finding out what they do like or what they don't like. They ate the Reese's Pieces. I gave them junior mints. I gave them apples. I gave them the watermelon, which they liked. They liked the cantaloupe that I gave them. Sometimes they wouldn't eat the cantaloupe because I don't know what farm or where it came from. But when I had to go get some more supplies because I was over there for over 30 days, I would get stuff for them more than me. And they would let me know what they would eat. The cherries they would eat, the mixed trail mix. I remember
peanut butter. Did you put any peanut butter?
Well, that's why they like the Reese's Pieces. It was for the peanut butter. But I did put a handful of this travel grain trail mix, and it was with pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, raisins. I think walnuts and so on. They ate everything on that plate except left a pile full of the pumpkin seeds. They would not, no, the pumpkin seeds, the sunflower seeds. They left a pile of they wouldn't touch the pumpkin seeds.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Well, remember, Jim, and this is what Jim did. He, for his gift for staying over the night, he brought out, I think, 4 polished rocks,
Uh-huh.
different colors, and he put them in the gifting area, which was a round circle that we did.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Kind of like a fire circle a little
like a
bit.
fire circle. Yes, and Jim put his 4. He said, "Well, this sometimes works when he goes out." And I said, "Okay, good. Whatever you want to do, leave. You know, if they take your reading glasses, take your whatever they want, take. You know." And they didn't take him the first night when Jim was there. Then Jim left, but he left the stones there. Remember?
Mhm.
And that the day after you left, they came and they took 1 stone that I think it was the green one,
Hmm.
those polished. But I documented. That's on there for you, brother.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a night when you were in your tent, you're filming yourself inside your tent, and then you can hear something tapping on the outside of the tent.
Well, just tell them before that. I was talking to them outside. This is like
Yeah,
1:30.
yeah,
I'm getting tired. They were up in the trees and they were
yeah.
just staring at me. Okay, I'm sorry.
So he's talking to him, which you did many nights of those 30 days. Many nights you talked to them, and they would come close, even into the camp, right? They came into the
Hmm.
camp a few times. So then he goes into the tent, filming himself, and you can hear this tap, 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 tap. But what you didn't hear, and one of your listeners, your followers pointed out to you, is some voices outside the tent. And isn't it interesting how when they talk, I don't know what people expect when Bigfoot's talking. It sounds like us talking outside. Sounds like people talking outside your
Mhm.
tent.
Mhm.
Low tones, you can tell a higher tone of a female, lower, deeper tone of a male, and they just go back and forth and they talk. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I think people expect it to be like, but it's not. It sounds like language. They're talking.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's different types of chatter. You'll hear from the
That's true.
103 mark to the 17 mark, and thank
Okay.
God for the viewers, because I'm blind and I don't see everything. But I have viewers that watch my video for something. I said, "Don't you have a career or a job?" No, they like to get people's videos and dissect what they see, and then they
Sure,
would let me
sure.
know, which I'm grateful for. But um, she pointed it out to me. But I remember up at the cabin one night, I step outside and I started hearing like,
Uh-huh.
and there must have been several of them talking behind the bushes in the back, like, and I kept on, I'm going like, wow, what kind of chit chat was this going on? Communication,
They
but
have
then
they have
again,
clicks and pops
yes,
sometimes in their language. Almost
yes,
like Bushmen from the
Mhm.
Kalahari, like sounds like that. They
Pop in
make
their
with their
teeth.
mouth, pop in their teeth, maybe
mm.
their cheeks. I don't know, but yeah, that is true. That is an unusual sound that they make in their language.
Well, you've been told stories about where people say they hear a name,
Hmm.
Hmm.
like, or name of their dog pet, like you call your Fido, and they'll be walking Fido's in the house, and someone will be yelling Fido in the woods. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
Or you'll
Uh,
hear in the woods go, and the dog goes like,
yeah.
who? My master's right here. How can they be calling me in the woods? But the same whistle that their master would use to call them in, they hear
Yeah.
calling them in the
Yeah.
woods.
Wow.
Oh, it's amazing, the whistling that you can have, and um, I just want to suggest, if you ever hear the whistle, okay, do not, by any means, do not whistle back.
Hmm. Why would
Okay,
you say that?
I did that. Okay, my last visit up there, and when speaking with Native Americans,
Hmm.
they told me that whistle's a warning sign. And when those
Hmm.
3 came to visit me, and I stood there for 3 hours with my friend there, when I did a whistle, she looked down, the female's up, and she looking down at her her partner and her little one, boom, came down the tree after 3 hours of going back and forth, up and down the tree. They all left. So I spoke to some Native Americans that got in touch with me, and he said that whistling they used for just as in war and hunting, that whistling was a warning that they would communicate instead of screaming or yelling, no matter if it was in combat or hunting, whatever. So I figured, all right, I learned my lesson on that. To find this one out, it's called Whistling Then 3, where I brought this medium out with me, Jeannie, who I took down to Virginia, West Virginia, Bigfooting with me, because she has a gift. She was able to pass the test, and she got a hold of me on my YouTube channel and wanted to go along. So I said, okay. And the first day I took her out, and you'll see on this video, I started hearing this whistling. I'm going, boy, I've been here for like 12 years. I says, I've never heard this sound before. Straight, one tone, boom. And so we kept on going, and it's following us. And this kept on. I'd take a break, stop and listen, go on. I mean, this was going on for like a half an hour. And then I'm going, boy, this is unusual. Then all of a sudden, in front of us. So there's one in back of us, one in front of us, and then we're walking somewhere. The third one. So they're all three pinpointing us in the same area. As this is happening, this beautiful, like I want to say a hawk, a giant hawk, wasn't an eagle, but it was huge, circling above us, falling. You'll hear it on the video. I'm going, wow. I said, this is a good sign. I'm saying this is a good sign. So I knew it was Bigfoot because of my previous times. I knew this was happening. But then, as they're getting closer, now you're going to hear it on the YouTube channel. Then they're all coming in, boom, 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 coming in, and she is frozen. She can't even move. And I'm going, Jeannie, come on, let's go. And I had to stop and grab her hand. As soon as I grabbed my hand, she was able to recover. It
snapped her out of her her shock.
She told me, she said, once I touched her, she had the message that everything's going to be okay. She knew nothing harm would come to her. But then after that, they didn't come. They didn't make the noise anymore. But yes, the whistling, like you say, and so on. Yes, I've been very, very blessed, and I don't understand why so much, because I've even stopped counting. But the one thing I remember, I'm not a big fan of going to doctors at all. I just never have been. And I remember when I was up at the cabin, and I don't know if any correlation you might think, but I said, man, if I'm going to die, I'll die. I mean, whatever, it happens. I'm not going through chemo or whatever. But I had this lump in my left thigh here, and my leg was just bruisely red. I mean, sore red. I'm going, do I really want to really find out or what? And I've been holding it back. And one night I'm lying in my bed, and I know they come up on my porch, and I could find handprints crawling on my deck as they were sneaking up the steps. And one night I'm just lying in my bed, and I wake up, and there's this humming, pulsating sound coming out of my head into my stomach, just like this. And I couldn't move. I'm lying, it's a single bedroom cabin, but this is the truth. And I couldn't move. And I'm saying, I'm your friend. I'm your friend. I'm your friend. That's the only thing I could say in my mind. I am your friend. I'm your friend. And it went on for a duration, but it was just a pulsating sound into my brain, into my body here. And I couldn't get up. I don't know if it lasted 3 minutes or 30 minutes, but I knew I couldn't move. And it was above my head. And now they're all windows. I'm going to tell you, this cabin is covered because the lady that wanted it built was an artist. But God strike me dead, my children's eyes. That it went away.
Yeah.
So
It's
I don't know
not,
if this thing has marked me because something like that happened to me, that when I do go out in the wilderness, do they notice that it's imprinted, that something help me, that they know that? I could be off or wrong, but that's a true story.
well,
And to this,
yours
That's
is
amazing.
like the fourth or fifth story I've heard of someone being healed, but
Hmm.
they believe by a Sasquatch.
Hmm.
And
good,
so, yeah.
Yep.
good.
So definitely believe that. 100%. I think they have that ability
Hmm.
when they choose. I don't know why they choose when they do. They don't heal everybody, obviously. But they seem to have this, as Native Americans would say, they have this shaman power to heal, among other abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, this I could go on all night. I mean, these your
of
stories
course.
are amazing.
It's only some, brother.
I
I mean,
know, I know.
you got to click it now. 2008 to, to last summer, and I was supposed to go out, be away this week. Um, I've been grateful. And the
Mm,
only reason I continue to do this, Jim, is because, I've had several mediums in my life. And for a while before my encounter with Bigfoot, with death, and I wanted to know why people had died, and stuff that occurred. And I explained some things. And the real deal, mediums are the real deal. Okay. They're not like, just looking at this or reading these cards, whatever. They're the real deal. And you don't have to tell them anything, and they can tell you. And I had
mm,
one lady that I knew for a while that she was a medium, but I didn't know she was a medium till maybe 5 or 6 years after I met her. And she told me to
mm,
sit down in the kitchen with her and her kids around, telling me about my father and everybody, and they're all here, my brother, everybody's okay. They want you to feel good and all this, and death, and those crazy deaths. I mean, deaths that you don't come into this world that you think you're going to die. So when she was telling me about my family, and then I ran into Bigfoot, I said,
mm.
okay, let me go and find out something about Bigfoot. She knows. So this is probably 2011 or 12. And I said to her, name was Romy. I said, Romy, I says, listen, there's something in the woods, and I don't know what it is. Can you tell me? She goes, see something black. Is it Bigfoot? Just like I'm saying now.
Mm.
And what a great feeling that was. And she told me at that point that they wanted to make contact. Besides, wanted to make contact. Now, if you remember, you read my book, and when the huge Bigfoot came in front of me on my deck at night, I walked out, and there he was standing for over an hour. Anyways, people, I was up at the cabin. I came out, and there is this Bigfoot standing outside my cabin, right close by to where the strips of bark were laid out. And he's just the huge, I mean, wider than a refrigerator. I'm saying 10 to 12 feet tall, and I'm not exaggerating. And I'm looking at him. I said, okay, here's the time to what it's all about. And I went and grabbed an apple. As soon as I grabbed the apple and I come walking down the stairs, I didn't know that they had eye shine.
Mm.
Boom! Out of his eyes are these glowing yellowish orange things shooting out like a robot from Lost in Space or something. I did not know that came to them at
Mm,
that time. Okay. So I backed off. I said, my
mm,
God. So I shined the light on his face, and he got upset. Not upset, but he got nervous and went behind a tree.
Hmm.
Then the the flashlight down. He came back to the same location. I just shined it on his feet. But he still turned on that light switch of the beams coming out of his head, and I never saw that. So
yeah.
I sat and I ate that whole apple in front of him. I mean, slowly. I mean, for a half hour, just chewing. I was trying to get him to come closer. I says, okay, he's going to come with
Wow.
the eye shine thing, then come closer. But I didn't feel comfortable seeing that just shooting out. And these
Mm.
these are bright, man. This is
Yeah,
this
it
is
is
bright.
bright. It is
It's not a
bright.
dim thing, man. It's like headlights. So
And
people,
and and we may show the video if there's time, where you shot a video, and I've got one too, of a light. Looks like one light, one bright
It
light,
can.
but it's two eyes. When they're far enough back, their eyes kind of meld
Merge.
together as one light. But
Mhm.
it is bright. It's like a spotlight in the woods. I mean, you would think somebody's back there with a bright flashlight. And I tell people this and they don't believe me. And I'm like, okay, believe me or not, there's nobody back there, no person back there with a flashlight. And so, I mean, it is bright, bright. And so, how they do it, and Sibylla knows about this too, how they do it, you cannot explain. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. But
What I will tell you this while I'm on the subject of the medium. Now, you take this with a grain of salt, okay? All these other people are going to write in and say all the comments about it. And I did this on Wes with the Sasquatch Chronicles, which is a very nice gentleman. Um, when I was with the medium, and after she told me it was Bigfoot, I said, "Why are they here? What is about them?" And she says, "Chris, they've been here for tens of thousands of years." But she looked at me and says, "But they're not from here." So people, this is what was introduced to me. I'm just replying exactly what was told to me.
Mhm.
And you take it what it is. You look, just because something may not look like us and they're different, whatever, here, doesn't mean that they don't have the intelligence
mhm,
of being on this planet and surviving, whatever.
sure.
Right.
So just keep an open mind, because there's a lot of people that see crazy things, but they don't want to come out and talk about it and
Very
and say,
true.
so
Very true.
I'm one that talks about it. I've gotten my skin has gotten thicker over the years. First, I was bumming. I couldn't, the vicious
Yeah.
outcry that people wrote on Sasquatch Chronicles. I mean, I'm talking, when you have that many people, you get a lot of nasty comments. But it is what it is. But I'm
And
telling the truth, and on that. So she told me they've been here for tens of thousands of years, but they're not from here.
well, and we encourage our listeners to write comments to you, to us, just writing a comment with their thoughts.
Questions.
We do questions. We do request. I mean, we can't force this, but we do request that you be kind. Please
Yeah.
don't criticize. I mean, if you don't understand something, ask a question, but don't be a troll, please. Just because we want to encourage people to be open, like Chris, about the things they've had happen. I know Ron in our last podcast really, really expressed how important it was for him to be able to talk about this, and it was like therapy. And so when people write in critically, it just shuts people down sometimes. And so but we encourage you to write, ask your questions of Chris, and Chris, you have the full freedom to respond
Hmm.
in our chat after the fact, when people write in after the fact. One, you can find Chris at on YouTube. Look up his channel, Chris Merola, Merola, and he's got a lot of videos, a lot of resources there. A lot of when he was here in Colorado, but as well other times. And he's got this book, The One Who Runs and Hides. And
That's the cabin.
great, that's the cabin he was talking about at the beginning. So I encourage you to look this up on Amazon. Get a copy. I keep forgetting, it's opposite. Get a copy for yourselves. Great book. Um, he writes well, just as he speaks well. So, but just for the sake of time, not for the sake of lack of interest or fascination in this topic, we
Yes.
just want to thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Yes. I would
No,
love
my
for you to,
pleasure.
I would love for you to come back and tell us
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Yeah. We need to have a part
Yeah,
two.
We do need
sure,
to have a
sure.
part two. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
No worries, man. Whenever, just give me a shout out, and we'll make it work.
And now that because I've been to your camp and spent the night there, I'm actually, as we're sitting here talking, I'm thinking maybe I'll go take a night out there by myself, because they know you.
Mhm.
They were there the whole month that you were there. It would be an interesting experience for me to get out there and do that. So
Yeah, good
if I
idea.
do, I'll let you know. If I do, I'll let
Yeah,
you know.
I wish I wasn't so far away, but
Yeah,
Me
sure,
too.
sure.
Yeah, me too.
on that part.
But thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks for
Don't
taking
ever
this
worry about
time.
them hurting you, brother. They will
Hmm.
never hurt you. You go up there,
Hmm.
don't worry about that.
Yeah, yeah. They could have hurt you. They had hundreds of opportunities to hurt you, and they didn't. And
Nope.
so, and they've had many opportunities, both with Sibylla and I, to hurt us, and they haven't.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
100% agree with that. Well,
Thank you so much,
mhm,
Chris.
My pleasure,
thank you.
Sibylla.
Yeah.
Really nice
Yeah.
meeting you.
Nice
Go
meeting you
Texas.
too. Yeah.
She's a fantastic artist. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but
No.
she interviews witnesses from all over the country, and it's a real therapy for many of these people to share their story with Sibylla, have her draw it, and then have them say, and she'll keep working with them until they say, "That's what I saw."
Mm.
So she's very talented. So I
Thank you.
encourage you to chat with her and cool.
You definitely need to get a really decent audio recorder
Yeah,
and set it out and just leave it overnight and just
yeah,
start recording what's going on. Yeah.
100%.
Yes, you're
And the
right. I should get.
the forest people don't
They
seem to
don't mind.
mind. They don't mind audio recorders. They don't
They
like
don't.
video recorders,
No,
but they'll walk right up to audio recorders and tap on them and do
and
all
make
sorts of cool
talk
stuff.
and do everything. Yeah. So, wow, great episode. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chris. And like I said, I'll
My
be in
pleasure.
touch. I'll be in
Please
touch
do.
with you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good night,
You have a
y'all.
great rest of your day today.
Thank you, sir. All
You
right.
bet.
Good to see you, Jim. I hope I see
You
you
too,
sometime in the
Chris.
future.
Me
Enjoy
too.
the mountain.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Told you this is gonna be a good one.
That was amazing. I
Yeah.
want to. I just feel like there was so much left on the table that we didn't.
A ton.
That we didn't hear about.
And all the video clips. This could be a 2-hour episode. I don't know, but
Yeah.
all the video clips that we can throw in here that will help you visualize what he's talking about.
I want to hear so much more about what happened at the cabin because I feel like there was so much more that we didn't get to hear about.
No.
So,
No, definitely, and I think we should do a part 2. But I'm sure our subscribers are going to enjoy this because he is so entertaining. Not in a false way. He's entertaining, telling real stories about
the
what's
way it
happened
happened,
to him.
for sure,
Yeah.
and the way it occurred to him at the time.
Absolutely.
I would also love to know like what his son that's now probably grown, what his thoughts are about what he heard or
Yeah, we
saw.
didn't ask. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Well, great time. Thank you, Sibylla.
Thank you,
thank
Jim.
you, all of you, for following us and tuning in. And we'll continue to find the best, most genuine witnesses we can find to interview, and we'll probably throw in occasionally some of the research that I'm doing in the woods, just some clips and things. And I'm putting more of those on this same YouTube channel, Sasquatch Outpost. I've decided I've got to take more time to actually do a video of when I'm out, put it together, and put it back on the website so that you guys can watch. And so anyway, we're going to sign off now for this episode 2 of Sasquatch Beyond the Outpost.
Thank all of y'all for being here.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jim. Bye-bye.